everybody, and bam! What do y'all think of that ugly son of a bitch that just popped up on your screen? And obviously, a new background. I told you we're going to be traveling around. We're going to be getting around. We're going to be drinking this coffee. I mean, the cup is gone. Do you know what that means? That means we're actually alive and awake on camera. I know there's another show right now playing, but I had no idea. But as far as awake, anyway. WoO started Lucas Oil. In fact, ladies and gentlemen, what the commenter just, hold on, let me bring this one up. It is 1:36 p.m. in the Australian time frame. Hey Chaz, how's Australia? Loose Cannon says, World of Outlaws started. Lucas Oil, Liam Channel said in the comment section. And let me tell you something. Can somebody tell me what a damn CW 33? You know what I'm saying? MG means? The hell is an MG? This rental car I'm driving around. People think it's all classy. Morning from WA. Oh, WA is in the building. Western Australia. People are warning the hell out of me on this. Oh, you're really gonna ride in a truck over to Perth? I don't know. There's some things in the background not happening right now. We may have to fly. But at the end of the day, there is a bunch of MG European car. Well, that explains it much. Praise be the Queen. Apparently, Australia gets like a day off on the Queen's birthday or the King's birthday or something like that. So, very interesting scenario where people technically worship a family, a monarch. And you know what? Something that's very interesting. I was warned about the politics when I came over here into this Australian racing scene. And honestly, I mean, obviously in America, we don't have a governing body or whatever. And we don't have communism, even though I feel like the capitalist structure that we have right now is the ending stages of capitalism due to the extinguishment of the free market due to the increased corporatism. But corporatism is able to buy politicians and kind of mask their literal business style communism with capitalism and all this. And they fight and they pay politicians to represent a certain side, even though it isn't the ending stages of the capitalism, and the things that would have to be changed in regulation to actually get America back to a free market is usually not going to happen. This is what happened to Rome, by the way. But at the end of the day, over here in these racing politics, America doesn't have them, they say. America doesn't have racing politics. Like, we don't have a governing body. We just got these different sanctions and series and all this stuff. But just kind of how I told you how the the corporatism within the capitalist system of America masks itself and operates as a communistic system, but kind of projects a capitalist ideology, even though the free market is technically pretty much dead right now because of the increased power of corporatism. Actually works a lot better here in Australia. Capitalism does. But I feel like the same kind of thing happens in America, where the power structures, the governing bodies are there, and the actual appointed leaders are they don't come out and say we run shit. But just like in life, I don't really care what you say, I care what you do. And the actions of the American racing scene are very, very monarch based. You can kind of tell who's running the governed, who's telling people what to do. And I'll tell you what, obviously this week is the classic weekend, Premier Speedway, or Premier, however they want me to freaking say it. I'm going to say it how I want to, VG Meaty, Vegemite, VG Meaty. The track recently had a situation where they put dirt onto the track, resurfacing of this race facility with this extreme long, prestigious history, 50 years on the mark last year. I believe this is the 51st annual coming up. And the surface hasn't been amazing. It's taken rubber in the past. Now, I've seen some racing here this year, looks pretty good, but it's been a topic of discussion. You know, they've had drivers load their stuff up. Apparently, I listened to a talk show that they had here recently, and that's where I'm getting at. Like, okay, say Australia has this governing body, but at least they have responsibility and understanding and wherewithal. Because this talk show that I watched, the people who run the show at Premiere came out and admitted, proclaimed to their public, their people they are kind of operating for and with, that their surface isn't good enough and changes must be made and that they're going to be changing and going into the future. And they have a certain expectation of what they are providing the public. And when I heard this talk show or this presentation, it was more so like a presentation. A bunch of people came and watched, it looked like, and they had the runners of the operation there at Premiere basically describing all their issues that they're having on trying to fix it and trying to resurface. And like I said, admitting, taking responsibility for the situation and talking to the community of Speedway in Australia with a sense of care and responsibility. And we got you, and we're here to serve what's happening here. And we're not just turning a blind eye and ignorant and you know, rose-colored glasses American dream in this. We're going to take responsibility. We don't like this. This is what we don't like. We understand. We listen. We care. And then all I can do when I was sitting this, I was like, man, people bitching about these Australian politics and this, that, and the other. And I'm like, there are some tracks in America that if you're a race car driver and you don't like the conditions in the middle of the heat race and you get a dash interview on the front straightaway and say something hinting, oh, I didn't like the track there or something, the owners of the facility will come down and intimidate you into shutting the fuck up. Will basically tell you to load your shit and leave if you don't like my facility. The arrogance, the cockiness, the destructive ideology and ways of dealing with people that exists in the American racing scene, more so than not, doesn't exist here. And I was talking about the racers who appreciate what they have in this country as well, and the lengths they will go to race is so already admirable. And then when I heard that press conference, heard the way that the operators spoke to the public and how much responsibility and understanding they had of the racing community and the respect they had of people, it's not just the racers over here. Maybe they got their governing body, but they're not a bunch of arrogant pricks. They listen to reason. They care about their racers. They care about their racetrack. They own up to their mistakes. They say what is wrong. They say what is right, and they try to do something about it without catching this cocky, I'm the king shit attitude that I see. This happens. What I just described to you ain't just one track. So I am just kind of blown away. I mean, let me see if I can find this interview that I was describing to y'all. But I'm telling you, when I watched it, I was like, oh my God. You're telling me there's people in racing that carry responsibility and treat people well? Own up to their mistakes? They say that their track sucks? They're not threatening teams to leave and never come back for having an opinion in an interview? I couldn't believe what I was seeing. I couldn't believe what I was hearing when I saw this. Here it is, right here. I couldn't believe, like I said, the care, because really it's care. It's caring about people. It's understanding community. It's understanding how to work together with people. This is the video right here. It was posted on Premier Speedway, Warrnambool. Now, once again, they talk like the track's all bad. I didn't really see it all that bad. They should go experience Huset's. Oh, my God. But I do hear it's a very similar situation like Huset's, where the track slickens off, rubber's down. But I didn't really see that a few weeks ago when I watched, I believe it was a Speed Week race. I didn't see a Houston style just tack slick rubber. It looked like it did survive a little bit more. And the racing was good when I saw it. But of course, they're pumping their sponsors right here before they do a little 22 minute, 31 second little, I would call it press conference with questions, with hard questions that were allowed to be asked. Not just, is this race going to happen next year and you get kicked out the track like I've experienced, but actual questions that need to be answered and concerns, and they were addressed like an adult. So I invite everyone to go check this video out just to see what I'm trying to talk about when I talk about people who are acting proper, or proper, however they want to say it. This thing right here was very impressive, and I know maybe some Australians don't get it, and y'all idolize America, and you just think everything's so much great and grander over there. But I'm telling you right now, based on experience, some of the things y'all do around here is respectful, admirable, and deserves some praise. And I think y'all need to pat yourself on the back a little bit more, whether your track rubber's down in this shit or not. I mean, I don't think that's the case. I think there's some exaggeration, and maybe some people are thinking that there's so much greater and grander on the other side of the sea when really it's not. But this was an extremely impactful video that I watched here. I'm not going to play any audio. Fitz Media, it looks like, put it together. But you got the people involved with the track, with race cars in the background, talking about these scenarios, talking about caring about the fans, caring about the car owners, caring about the drivers. It was just so insane to see how this operated here, this talk show. But go check it out. It's on Premier Speedway. Track management, track talk. That's what it looks like. It is on their Facebook page, I do believe. But very impact. Like I said, I was taken back. I'm not used to experiencing this level of responsibility, respect, and care. Like I saw right here. Like I said, if you go talk about any of these tracks, some of these track services in the Americas, they will just like literally just some, the denial, like in Cold Trickle Days of Thunder. You and Rowdy suffer from the same sickness. It's called denial, and it will probably kill you both. There's a lot of denial in the rose-colored glasses country known as America in many ways, not just in racetracks, but in a bunch of ways. This was the complete opposite. This was insane. This was... I know some people are like, what's the big deal? This is a big deal. You can't even talk like this over there. As a racer who just is racing and paid to enter, you'll be told to get out and never come back. I've seen it at different tracks. I've heard it at I've had owners and drivers say, dude, this happened. I was like, wow, says a lot. But when I'm being told that in the Americas before arriving here to Australia and seeing a video like this, that's the norm, getting treated that way. That's the norm. People are very panty soft sensitive over there about their tracks and stuff. Now, obviously this is a sensitive subject to some people. This is a big event that's coming up. The track service is staying the same. They did kind of pronounce in this talk that there's going to be adjustments going in the future because it's not acceptable by them or anyone. But once again, I did see the racing here recently at this track in the last couple weeks, and it looked pretty good. It looked fine. I believe it was a Speed Week race. Really racy, spread out. The Classic last year, which was on the same surface that they're discussing, was relatively good. Last lap pass by Brock Howlett on Sheldon Haudenschild, which it looked like Sheldon, that last lap was the biggest mistake of the world. I don't know if y'all have underground gambling like they do in the United States, but it looked like he was going into that first corner and either thought the race was over or knew he wasn't supposed to be leading it by the time the checkered flag flew. I don't know. I'm just kidding there just a little bit. But. Topic of interviews, by the way. Once again, just wanted to give a big shout out to this. Once again, the Australian racing scene is surprising me left and right. It is unreal how much responsibility and wherewithal and understanding y'all have of just being normal, I guess. I've just been freaked out over there on the other side of the Like I said, over there where the people got the glasses on. There was a couple of different interviews, but there also was our video. If you haven't checked it out just yet, I'm going to go down here what we had planned out. That kind of just came up out of nowhere. But America to Avalon, it is on the Long Live the Chaz YouTube channel right now. Documents our whole travels from the snow of the Midwest to the sunny side of Sydney to Melbourne, experiencing the left-hand drive for the first time. Long Live the Tiger, Rocky III, all kinds of stuff involved in this. Heading to the track, trying out the Australian beer, really good. And then the Australian Alex Bowman, which is this Cam Waters. And I hope nobody gets offended when I say Australian Alex Bowman, Cam Waters. The reason I call Alex, because every time somebody, and here's the deal for you. Every time somebody has come up to me and talked about this Cam Waters, they said, oh yeah, he's kind of like a Kyle Larson of ours. He came from asphalt, came back to dirt. And I'm like, okay, you said Kyle Larson, sir? You said Kyle Larson. He's like our Kyle Larson. Yeah. He's like a Kyle Larson. Does he win? I ain't heard this dude's name in no victory column. And they said, oh, well, he's only been doing it 3 or 4 years. Sir, Kyle Larson jumped in a super late model for the first time and won his second night out. I was there in Victory Lane with him handing the beer to Caitlin. Looking like a damn asshole idiot because I said he couldn't beat the late model guys, and he did his first freaking try. Very good scenario for him, Port Royal, very interesting thing, but I'm not a Larson knight, but I'm a realist. You can't call somebody a Kyle Larson unless he's doing Kyle Larson shit, bud. Now, I wasn't being disrespectful, in my opinion, by calling this Cam Waters an Australian Alex Bowman. Now, some people in the dirt racing world, when I say that or reply to them, they start laughing. Now, why would you start laughing? Well, apparently this guy just shows up, runs 10th, and the news covers him and ignores all the rest of the stars of this sport who are better than him, probably just didn't have the monetary advantages to go to V8 supercars, similar to the dirt track racers in America, are probably better than a lot of the Alex Bowmans for sure. They just didn't have the monetary situation or opportunities to go to NASCAR Cup racing. But we're going to get to that in just a little bit with the help of Kyle Larson, actually. So, This label, when I put in this video, Australia's Alex Bowman, that's not, now, you dirt racing people may laugh, or you people who actually know racing may laugh, but you people who actually know racing also should be like, that's a fair comparison. Because when I see this guy racing like he has for a couple years, it reminds me of Alex Bowman. He's running mid-pack and top 5 and maybe here and there, and that's Alex Bowman. Now, for some reason, people find that offensive because Alex Bowman's not a winner on the dirt track. Well, guess what? Cam Waters isn't either. I'm just saying. But this is, and see, I get upset at these things because I like reality. Just like that, you know, I guess group, I was going to say organization because that's how they mask capitalism over there. But the group or club running Premier is owning reality. The track is not how we like it. We do understand this. We're trying to address it. We try to do this. I like reality. And when I hear guys like this Cam Waters just getting this hype, there has to be, in my opinion, some merit behind it. And if you're getting called by random people, Australia's Kyle Larson, like people have been telling to me, and you ain't doing Kyle Larson shit, that's bull. You know, so, but there's no bull in this. This is meritly correct. Australia's Alex Bowman is exactly who Cam Waters is because he doesn't have the victories to say he's Kyle Larson. Alex Bowman and him could probably have a pretty damn good match race, although I think Alex Bowman ain't going to be able to run dirt no more because our tracks in America are a little bit quicker, a little bit faster, and people can get hurt, I guess. No, they're not always that way, but in reality, I don't know the guy. He's probably good. But back to merit, I don't think a guy, just because you were lucky and hit the asphalt lottery and got opportunities in NASCAR or V8 supercars of anywhere, that you just all of a sudden get respected and attention that these other guys who are probably drive out, obviously they're beating you since you've started. They're not getting no attention and no respect. That bothers me. That's what I have a problem with in America, where our sprint car drivers, who are some of the greatest race car drivers in the world, by the way, our cars are technically more difficult to drive, so is our racing surfaces. Why is it that our drivers in sprint car racing across the world, and even the dirt late model guys could have this argument, why do our guys get no recognition or respect by the world around us unless they go in the corner and flip into the wall and catch on fire and burn half their body like Harley White did? Or unless they go off into the corner, flip around, and get smashed into their head and never come back like Brian Clausen? Or they're out there on the track saying fuck you from the guy who calls everyone fuck you and gets accidentally hit and dies. Then you care about him. So that's why I have this stance, because I've been running racetracks trying to reach this mainstream media with the respect that I understand, and not ever getting a call back until something like that fucking happens. So that's why this type of situation, where a guy from a NASCAR or a supercar or whatever comes to dirt track racing and everybody flocks to him for attention. Where's our respect? Not their fault. They're just living their lives. The Alex Bowmans, the Kyle Larsons, the Cam Waters. It's not their fault. So this isn't necessarily, when I say Alex Bowman, he's not Kyle Larson. That's not disrespectful towards him, because that's reality. This is not Kyle Larson. That's respect for Kyle Larson as well, to correctly label this driver. But if you feel a sense of any kind of attitude or disrespect, it's not towards you, it's towards this situation. Because I feel like the dirt racer, the sprint car racer who's got that talent driving these more dangerous, more difficult vehicles on more difficult, more technical, more analytical style racing, is just a little bit of a situation of some bullshit, that they don't get that respect and recognition and attention that the concrete queens do. So that's kind of been my train that I've been riding for a decent amount of time, actually. You know, trying to correct that bullshit. But anyways, it's a really good video. I didn't mean to really go hinder into that extremely. But that's why that's there. Because I heard some people, oh, you called him Alex Bowman. Ha ha ha. Well, it's not a ha ha ha. This isn't no ha 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 situation. This is reality. Somebody ain't ever won in a dirt car, you gonna call him Kyle Larson? Alex Bowman's more attuned, and I think Alex Bowman actually does have some dirt track victories just in a midget. But regardless, go check the video out. It is very good, very entertaining. And then we had a little bit of some other news in the situation. I don't know why people, they see me go live and then they start messaging me on Facebook, just destroying my video. We did see this is the image that was put out back to American racing and the politics that be. This is interesting. Who's gambling? When you're all about the money, this is where it goes. This was a image that apparently was put out by High Limit on one of their socials. And it was about midweek, who's gambling, who's the midweek rollers, all the confirmed committed drivers to be at the midweek series throughout the entire year. That's why you see Kyle Larson's name on this list. But you also see James McFadden's name on this list. And this post was apparently taken down. I don't know if they've done something with it since. I posted this a day ago. But it does look like James McFadden is in High Limit Racing some way. And they let the news out and then had to take it down or whatever. I've heard many rumors on what this is going to be. If you've been paying attention to the Chaz, you're not confused when you see this. You see, you see James McFadden. Got dogs around here too, new houses and everything. You're not very confused when you see this. Because we've been saying, this Roth situation was kind of confusing. And I was like, well, I'm hearing Roth really is going to go with Kofoid potentially. But they kind of only want one team, but Toyota wants two, and they're probably going to split one up and go High Limit, one go Outlaws, but they want two. And then if that doesn't happen, then he's potentially going to go with the 11 car on the High Limit. I still think James McFadden would have been better than Carson Macedo in the point standings without the tire situation this last year. That's just me. I mean, I'm not saying James McFadden is a better or worse driver than Carson Macedo. I do believe that 41 car that Carson Macedo is in is one of the best racing vehicles with some of the smartest minds. Probably, in my opinion, smarter than Paul Silva is Phil Dietz with the 41 car. In my opinion, I think Dietz and Ricky Warner's above even though the clout with Larson. Regardless, I think James McFadden is really good. And he was really dominant, and it would have been interesting to see him go for an outlaw title, but obviously there's no details on where exactly James McFadden is landing right now, but it looks like he's landing on the high limit deal for this to be up and then taken down and then kind of highlighted by a few people. That's where I picked it up. So it looks like James McFadden is going high limit. I don't know if it's right for me to go tonight to Borderline. The King's Challenge is happening tonight here in Australia. Going to be an amazing event, I believe, on Clay Per View. You can catch it. The track looks like a really badass shape. I don't think it's right for me to go up there and ask him. Obviously, they're trying to keep something secret here for this to not be sustained publicly for too long of a period of time. But it is a very interesting scenario where you have James McFadden listed with high limit. That says either a secondary Roth car, so there's a Toyota presence in high limit, which I think that would be the smarter situation. Or I'm hearing that 11 machine that we saw Buddy Kofoid lead the World Outlaw standings out of Volusia, I believe, last year, is looking for him. And that car, or is looking to get McFadden. And that car is very fast, but also Brenham Crouch would be his teammate. Brenham Crouch, that whole 11 situation was kind of like the national ride for the Crouch industry family there. But Brenham Crouch joined on with the High Limit Racing Series this year, so they could be backing down to a one-car team just to focus on his young career. So you could hear how, well, maybe that 11's gone. But something is going to happen with James McFadden here. It looks like something's going to happen with High Limit Racing, whether that's that blue and gold 11 or an 83 junior machine. That's the question mark. But midweek, for sure, it looks like. Midweek for James McFadden. And for them to be on this list, I would assume that will take James McFadden off the list for potential World Outlaw full-timers, because he wouldn't be able to compete in every single midweek race because they only get the 4 races, etc., or 8 races, or 4 races for the platinum status, 8 races for the gold. Still not good enough to be able to compete in the midweek series with the high limit sprint car series. Let's see here. Oh, we did have this happen. Oh, we are going to give you some volume on this. This was yesterday in GEETROIT, Australia. Look at this. The Aussies have branded the Chaz and had to include Larson's ass. Look what happened here. This is utter bullcrap. Listen to this.
Where the hell are we at? Like LA. Heck, graphics. Kind of the phone number's backwards. Oh, look at him. He's drinking.
What? I brought that for you. That's a King brand. You go try a Victorian beta.
Oh,
that's
my God.
Geelong, GEETROIT.
And you did this? What the hell is wrong with you? This is me in the cowboy hat, and then what is that?
I had to get you the cowboy hat because I'm not digging the M&M from Weeks.
But what's this? Is that Kyle Larson?
That's the guy you always rave on about.
Oh my God! So you put that in there. Did you utilize?
I was gonna put the yeah, that's your logo.
Okay, nice.
I was gonna put the Texas flag, but I had a friend who goes, "No, that was your flag. It's cool."
It does with the cactus.
Yeah,
but you had to put Kyle Larson's ass in there. He's probably gonna sue now. That's how he is. I ain't gonna say I learned the N-word from you. I'm just saying.
That's so good. They'll learn the N-word from you. By the way, that was the official statement. So we do have these at the track that we're going to be carrying around, giving away. I mean, if you want to give $1 or $2, I mean, I ain't asking for it. I'll give it to you. But we got a decent amount of the Chaz stickers. This is the Australian version, by the way. These are the Australian national colors, the Outback orange, and then the green and the gold, and then mixed in with the white Chaz. This is color matched, by the way. This was right onto the RGB of those official national colors. And then you have over here this horrible Down Under Tour sticker that he made. He copyrighted my logo, by the way. He took my logo without my permission, put it on a picture of me without my permission, and then used Kyle Larson's image without his permission and put him there and put an X over the top. And then he put all these, what is that, a Pokemon? A kangaroo, a drop bear, and a VB 40-ounce malt liquor. What the hell kind of sex, drugs, rap, and rock and roll thing is this? I just don't understand. This is the more funny sticker. I will say that is very entertaining. But we do have these as well. All circle logos. He did kind of miss the plot a little bit. As you can see, it's got a white outline. But hey, that's fine. That's fine. White outline's always good when you're putting on anything. So it was probably the smarter way to go. But anyways, check us out if you want to run across us. We might have some by the end of this whole Down Under tour to bring back to America's Tech Graphics. Is the guy who put all this out. And he's got some pretty interesting racing history over there that we may have to check out. But all right. I know everybody's been waiting to see what the hell's he talking about with this Lucas Oil situation. I was going to play this, which we can, we will start right here. We'll end with the Lucas Oil's World of Outlaws starting Lucas Oil situation. This, we'll leave it right there, one eye open. We know who they're in with. This was an interview on Kenny Wallace's YouTube, so go to Kenny Wallace, watch it, follow it, join it, all that stuff. This is an interview that he did with Kyle Larson, and I've been saying for years to some of these dirt racers, and this is, at least in the Americas, this is the situation. I've been telling them, in particularly, young drivers and their parents, do not go the Keith Coons rent-a-ride route. Do not, when they try to get you to a lunch with Denny Hamlin and Kyle Busch and coerce you into this spending millions of dollars to pursue a NASCAR career, do not do it. It is not smart. It is a bad investment to pursue that. If you will take the same amount of money and pursue a dirt track racing career, you will end up making more money in the long run because you ain't going to have to invest $20 million to make $500,000. And you're going to be able to own what you invest in. And potentially, if you race and you perform well, you can make money. And so this is a very interesting talk. This is called The Fact About NASCAR Cup Driver Salaries. This fact will shock you. Now, listen to what they explain right here. This is very interesting to the point that I just made.
Everybody, we were making millions of dollars a year. And Kenny conversation is just about information, right? I mean, I was making millions of dollars a year and I'm good to go. The reason I said that, the reason I just told you that I was making millions back then, I was bringing my own sponsors, Square D, all that. But I guess it's true. Do NASCAR Cup drivers just make a lot less money now? I've been hearing that.
Yeah, man, I don't know everybody's deal, but you still have your top tier drivers that probably still are not making anywhere near what Jimmy Johnson or Jeff Gordon or anything like that. But you're still, I make a really good living. Like, I'm totally happy with my contract and all that, but it's still not to nearly the level, probably not close to even half of maybe what Jimmy was getting paid in his heyday. But I know I'm making way more than a good majority of the field. I don't really know what to think, but I think a lot of guys are just happy to say they're a Cup Series driver and they don't care. They just want to be there and racing on Sundays. And that just hurts the whole overall, I guess, driver side of it and trying to have leverage for some of these drivers to make more money. So, there's I bet you the top 4 drivers in the World of Outlaws Sprint Car Series are making more money than, a third to half of the Cup Series guys, probably half the Cup Series guys. So, yeah, that's pretty crazy to think about.
So he just said that the top 4, I think he said, and that'll probably expand with High Limit Racing doing what they're doing with the money, are making more than half of the Cup Series roster. So you heard me say they're hoodwink. Like he was explaining, they just want to be in there. They just want to go. They just want to be there, and they're willing to pay a certain amount of money to be the fake rock star that they're really not. Numbers don't actually pull it. We've documented the social numbers for dirt racers and against Cup racers, even newer relevant ones. The dirt racers are far ahead. I mean, there's some of their older drivers that are close to them, but it's more so an image-based fallacy. It's kind of like the Huntsman spider. You know, I did a little research. You know, that Huntsman spider here in Australia. I'd always thought of that spider, or I had never thought about that spider, and then I saw the pictures of it, and I was like, wait, I've seen that spider before. Where is it at? I've seen it before. I was like, how have I seen this spider so much and I've never been in Australia? I do some research, and there's a movie in 1990 called Arachnophobia that pretty much scared every American kid into being afraid of spiders as a child and from the 90s era. And I was like, I wonder. And I looked it up. That movie, Arachnophobia, utilized the huntsman spider, which is a harmless spider but looks very huge and big and scary. They used the huntsman spider as the main actor spider in the movie. That's what they based the movie Arachnophobia, of a spider that traveled to America on a banana ship and killed all these people in a small little Iowa town or whatever. They used that spider to portray that monster, when in reality, that spider is a harmless thing that just runs around the ceiling. Now, it looks very scary, and obviously spiders are you're genetically afraid of them.
But
you're genetically afraid of spiders, just like you're genetically scared of the dark. You know, you're genetically scared of the dark because back before fire and all this innovation that mankind has created to protect yourselves, in the dark you used to be eaten alive by animals. But they have taken that imagination and twisted it into ghosts and goblins. And that's how you can sit there, and after a scary movie, especially in your younger ages of life, you can sit there and after watching a scary movie, you kind of feel like something, oh shit, is it something? Because in reality, in human history, in the dark areas, as a younger adult, just like when, you know, we see these tigers and lions taking down a member from the gazelles or whatever, it's always the infants, the ones that can't keep up. It's always the younger ones. It's genetic. It's real. So this Hollywood manipulation deal is very funny, and I think it portrays over here. It's the same thing as the Code Trickle effect. It's just in a materialistic, idolizational based spin. It's a worship mentality, just like I've been saying. Mankind has the inherited need or desire to worship something, or to look up to something, or to desire something. They did the same thing with the sprint car community in the United States. It used to be Steve Kinzer we idolized. Then they took a movie and twisted that into Jeff Gordon, Tony Stewart, Casey Kane, Kyle Larson. The same story, the same feeling, just another character. But I've been saying that with this scenario in particular because it's almost a hoodwink. And for those who don't know it, they're from Australia. They ain't from the hood of Texas or Dallas like I am. A hoodwink is when you lead someone on into something. Oh, it's going to be good, bro. This is awesome. You turn the corner and then bam, you're jumped, your game beat. It's a trick. It's not true. It's not, they led you on to believe something that is there, but it is not factual. And I guarantee you, when they're having dinners and signing people up for 300,000 midget rides and $750,000 Arcas and K&Ns for $500,000 and trucks for $3 million and Xfinities for $8 to $10 million and all this shit, I guarantee you they're saying, oh man, by the time you get the cup, you're going to make it all back, man. You're going to be a star. Let's go. It's a hoodwink. It ain't true. And technically, that's why I don't have much respect for cup racers, because one, either they're idiotically misled, or they just want to pay for fame and attention that they haven't earned. And that's why I was saying, Taylor Reimer going asphalt racing. I called that running from competition. Competition's in the dirt. If you want to be a real king and a real badass with some merit behind you, you stay in dirt track racing and you beat the actual best race car drivers in the world. Or you can pay the money, go pay to get on a stage where you can outbuy them, not outclass them, and they can't race against you, and you can be protected behind your private community and race against all the little rich fish. That's why I think Kyle Larson's easiest field that he competes against is the NASCAR Cup Series. When he goes and races a late model, probably the toughest field in the world. When he goes and races a sprint car, probably the second toughest. I still think the American dirt track super late model scene is number one in the world. I don't think there's another form that is that close with that many competitors and that much money on the line. It's just not possible. But regardless, very interesting show here. This actually has a full talk show behind it. You can go check that out on Kenny Wallace's Facebook or YouTube page. Sorry, Kenny Wallace. I believe I tagged him in the description. If not, you could just type in Kenny Wallace. I'm sure you could find this video. It was posted relatively recently. Now, another video that's been posted, and this has 36,000 views. Interesting. Kenny Wallace, 36. 3663. Oh, my God. Bohemian Grove. But anyway, another video that has been released on the UB2B world is this one. And it hasn't been getting a lot of response. Jeremy Elliott, Sprint Car Unlimited. This entire interview with World Racing Group CEO Brian Carter, The Devil Lives, right here. Well, actually, the Devils. There's two of them that we just pointed out. But regardless, or Warlock. It depends on how you look at the dark arts of the world. This is interesting, though. This was posted 6 days ago. This whole entire interview is probably one of the best interviews I've heard by anybody, with informative, with information, with one of the most informative guys of the situation in Jeremy Elliott, and most willing, it seemed like, to produce information, Brian Carter. This was posted 6 days ago. It has 834 views. But back to idolization, you put Kenny Wallace and Kyle Larson from the worship crowd, and you get the attention. And this is why people will pay to go to NASCAR, because they're looking at numbers like this. Oh, if I go and be them, I'll get attention. Yay, status, yay. But anyways, this is interesting to hear some of the things. I'm only going to play 2 clips, and they are late model based. Now, I want y'all to listen to this. This shocked the hell out of me. I really couldn't believe what he had said. But it sounds like an untapped story that most didn't know about. Kind of to set it, I don't remember. I was driving over here to Warrnambool when I was listening to this, but to kind of set the setting for what happens here, they were talking about the beginning stages of, I believe it was Boundless, and they were purchasing the World of Outlaws, and there was some buying this and buying that. And Boundless had the world, I believe, the Stacker 2 World of Outlaw or Extreme series at the time, and the World of Outlaw Sprint Car series, and there was a bunch of ends and things happening. But listening to the beginning stages, this is only 14 minutes in. So go over to the Sprint Car Unlimited. Once again, you can search it. I think I got the link in the description. If not, go over there. Sprint Car Unlimited. Jeremy Elliott just started out doing the YouTube stuff, but has some good stuff already coming out. He might want me to do the 90s at 9 or whatever. I think I could read the script a little better than him. I'm just saying, Jeremy. I'm just saying. But my mouth is not for sale, but it could be for a good guy like Jeremy Elliott. I think he does a lot of good stuff. This is 14 minutes in, but this is an hour-long show. I suggest you go and watch the full thing. But these 2 things really stuck out to me. Listen to this stuff that Brian Carter says right here.
What we are and what we're trying to do, and I think our racetrack partners do too. So that's really what this whole thing is about.
What are the biggest mistakes you made? If you can think 1 or 2, some mistakes that, ooh, boy, I wish I wouldn't have done that.
Oh my God. There's a couple of big ones that people don't really know. It may air some laundry here, but when we bought the Stacker 2 Extreme series, it wasn't our responsibility to pay that point fund that we got stuck at the end of that year, and we didn't pay that point fund. The Lucas Oil series started. We paid it a month later, right, but we weren't responsible for that point fund. So, we don't hold grudges. We're not doing that stuff. We ended up paying it. It all got sorted out. But that was me going, that's not ours. The contract says something different. But that cost us a lot of money over the years. Is like, but there's hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars that a contract said something differently, but it's sorted out. That's probably a pretty big mistake. And I apologize, because all the guys that we bought that from are good partners now. So, but it was one of those mistakes, is like, we probably should have paid it, and we then probably should have sorted it out behind the scenes. And But at the same time, you're talking about hundreds of thousands of dollars, and it cost me the Lucas Oil Late Model Series. I believe Earl Pearson and the guys took 30 days to get their point fund money, and that created a level of distrust. That's a pretty big mistake, and that's airing out some real laundry. People may not know now, almost 20 years later. That was probably a pretty big mistake. Let's see.
So it sounds like, and there is video in here, by the way. He just went to a picture for 20 minutes. I don't know why. But there is video in here, and this is the kind of setting that Jeremy Elliott and Brian Carter had. Now, you just heard there, it sounded like a situation where they got the Stacker 2 series, I believe is what he just said, and they went into the next year, and they didn't pay this point fund deal that technically the series that ran, or the organization that ran the series the year before, had their situation to contract or to pay those contracts out to those drivers, and they sold the series apparently prior to the purchasing of that series. And then the drivers and people within the late model world were looking to the new owners to pay the previous year's championship fund. This is how I'm understanding it. To pay the previous year's championship fund, they opted to let me figure this out for 30 days. And that in that figuring out time period, should we pay this, should we not? The Lucas Oil Late Model Series started. That sounds like what it says to me, what I just heard. Now, y'all can go rewind it. I ain't going to play this over and over because I got to get on to another topic and get on to a damn race tonight. Still got a 2-hour drive, although they start super early here in Australia. Crazy to me. But that little piece right there is pretty insane, because that's what I hear. That's what I just took from it. If that is not what I took from it, maybe people need to go out there and make another post or say something differently. Because I think I'm relatively well at understanding and listening and having some kind of understanding of what I'm listening to, and just general comprehension. What it sounded like there to me was the Stacker 2 series was going. They get to the end of the year. They sold to them, but they didn't pay for the championship funds of that series that they had ran. The people, the drivers, the industry looked to them to pay for that championship because they were now the owners. And they sat back and said, hold on, we need to think about it. I think he said 30 days later they paid it, but within that 30 days, just because they hesitated, the late model people said, oh, we got to start something else. Fuck this. Lucas Oil Late Model Series. Let's go. That's how it came across to me. And as he said, maybe airing out some dirty laundry. A lot of people don't know this 20 years later. But if that's how it happened and what I just comprehended is correct, that is insane. That is pretty crazy. That is interesting. Another little clip that was said about late model racing once again, but it is about sprint car racing. And I think this is a big deal and this is why I was talking about, XR kind of leading the charge, and he actually addresses that situation. XR leading the charge on increasing payouts. And then there was like basically a bidding war for the stars of the late model industry, and the sprint car industry got jealous because they saw him getting all this money, and the sprint car industry is littered with ego. And so you had Brad and Kyle start high limit, and they're like, let's do what the late models do and all this stuff. And I'm sitting back like, well, you don't have the cars, you don't have the infrastructure of racing classes across every little pocket like the late models do. I don't know if you can do that. This is an interesting question by Jeremy Elliott, and I don't want to say I'm, interested in what the devil's got to say here, but it seems like it may be fallacy. It may be fallacy. Muhammad had some good points. Maybe that's what's going on here.
They want to know that they're getting the show.
Do you worry? You mentioned late model racing, and yeah, you had a third party come in, and you said about things good, some things bad. Is that kind of why you don't really want sprint car racing to be like late model racing, and why it can't be like late model racing? That, and there's just not as many cars.
Well, there's all of those dynamics. There's a lot of dynamics going on in late model racing. I was one of the first. And maybe this was a mistake too. I tried to make them a lot alike 3 or 4 years ago. I made the late model purse the same as the sprint car purse, which really wasn't ready for that. And then everybody stepped. It changed the purses across the entire industry, which I guess I like that because it made the finances harder in some ways for some of the parties. But sprint car racing and late model racing is not the same. The dynamic across the country is not the same. The geographies are not the same. The concentration of cars is different. You have to be really careful not to do the same things. And there's some mistakes been made with some of this happening throughout the country that we need. I'm learning from to try not to repeat them, and I hope everybody else is doing the same thing, because some of the stuff is just not sustainable. And I am not going to build an event that is based on broadcast alone or broadcast only or promoted around one or two people. And because that's, in my mind, that's just putting anything in particularly one big risk pool that's just not acceptable to me. I want to create a grandstands full of people, and then everything else sorts itself out.
Well, also, I mean, why cut a revenue stream? If you could have two revenue streams instead of one, it just makes sense.
Well, exactly. I mean, you're subsidizing one with the other, so it's been, late models already, the even the two models at the national touring level, there's two different models there with the Lucas Oil and running that with a marketing program for Lucas Oil. So they're taking their marketing money and spending it. So is it operating at a profit or a loss? How do you allocate marketing revenue? So we've been trying to operate that business at a profit, sustainable on its own, independent of the sponsorship, bringing in resources. So there's even some challenges to whether the two national series are even running on a similar sort of business model, because as soon as Lucas Oil decides to allocate that marketing money away from dirt track racing, what happens to Lucas Oil series? So I'm trying to build it where it's a sustainable business model, and they've been able to do that, and they've got support from the family and Forrest and his Morgan and the guys. They're been supportive, huge supporters of the industry and the sport for a long, long time. I hope that never changes, but what happens if it does?
Wow. So once again, this was at the 29 minute mark. Yes, 29 minute mark when this was a question and an answer. And I almost feel like we're listening to Brian Carter talking. There's a lot of background on Brian Carter in this show. That's why I'm suggesting people go and watch it. It deserves more than hearing 1 minute of Kyle Larson talk. I just don't understand that. But this video has so much detail and information in it, and I'm definitely not the biggest World of Outlaw fan, especially I call spades spades. It doesn't matter if your spade is the color of World of Outlaws or your spade is the color of high limit racing. I'm not in a club, and even though a club looks like a spade because it's the same color, I just call it how I see it. I've been critical of the World of Outlaws, been critical of high limit. There's no stone to be turned. Black and white. A lot of people say I'm black and white. Well, especially in this racing world, there's a lack of black and white. There's too much gray area. Officials and how sporting events are called are based on referees who wear black and white stripes for a reason. Sporting events are supposed to be fair. But the information in this with Brian Carter's background and in these two topics, and I didn't mean for this to come across as like a late model Lucas Oil World Outlaw deal, but it was very interesting information to hear how the Lucas Oil Late Model Series started. I feel like in this whole deal, though, at least the two clips I just played for you, Brian Carter is almost like telling some of these sheep over here, hey, if you run or a horse, say he's telling a horse, if you keep running that way, when you turn that bush, it's a mountain that falls out and you will go down and you're going to destruct. If you keep running that way, even though that looks just like a bush and there's trees behind it, there ain't trees behind that bush. There's a damn a cliff and you're going to fall off of it. Sounds like a lot of trial and error. I say this all the time personally. I sit here and say whatever I think, and yeah, I may be opinionated, and then I'll say something that's stupid and wrong, and then when I find out it's stupid or wrong, I sit here and say, hey, I was stupid and wrong, and then I learn from that test or that trial. So it sounds like that the World of Outlaw World Racing Group in particular has went through a lot of trial and tribulational periods, and he's trying to explain to people how it doesn't work that way. Now, once again, back to the devils are in the details. If, for instance, Brian Carter is threatened, World Racing Group is truly threatened by what these guys are doing, or they see, or maybe the true intention is World Racing Group sees these other organizations being able to do something that they cannot do, or don't see a way that they can do it or keep up, then you're also the devil in that aspect would try to convince you, hey guys, we know better. Hey, if you go past that bush over there, it's a cliff. When in reality, he knows that it could potentially be a forest. So you have to look at it like maybe he's just telling you not to go over there because that's how you are actually set free. That's how you can actually beat me, is if you do it that way. So I got to use some scare tactics to keep you from beating me. Or to keep you from leaving the country or going outside of America and learning how the rest of the world operates and does things like I've done here and got to see how great Australia actually is in a lot of ways. Not only just in the racing politics, but their actual politics ain't that bad either. Even though everybody's a disliker of their own scenario. It's always grass is greener on the other side, but sometimes you got to go the other side to see how it actually is. Sometimes it can be greener, sometimes it can be black, sometimes it could be white, sometimes it could be a cliff that you fall off and fall to the damn ground. But regardless, it does seem like there's a lot of good, adequate information in here. And I've been saying a lot of the same things that was just said. Obviously, Brian Carter coming from a different stature of the racing world and saying it. But almost verbatim of what I was saying when I was like, y'all can't do what the late model guys do. This is Y, this is X, this is C. I mean, this is a difference. And it sounds like he's coming from, obviously, he's coming with some knowledge to him as well. So I invite everyone to go check this thing out. It is on Sprint Car Unlimited's YouTube page. They're going to be doing a lot of stuff here. This thing deserves over 834 views for sure. It was a really good hour. This was interesting. This video should be 36,000 views. This video should be 864. But back to what actually makes people watch sprint car racing versus NASCAR racing. It's mental manipulation. Real smart people know this, that your mind is what makes up the decisions and your imagination is what makes up the influence to make those choices. Okay? And they use arts to manipulate those. Sometimes they're bright, sometimes they're dark. Regardless, go check those things out. And if you ain't went and saw how they're doing things right over here in Australia, go check it out. This Premier Speedway, talking about the track. Once again, I don't think they're going to have an issue this week for the Classic. They could, and maybe this will prep you for that if the track does go a little south. It is on Flow Racing. Flow Racing signing up the Premier Speedway Classic racing action this week. It's Friday, Saturday, Sunday in Australia, but for the Americans, it is Thursday, Friday, Saturday because we are a day ahead. That's on the Premier Speedway Warrnambool Bull Facebook page. Check all these things out that I've been showing you today. If you do see me at the track, we're going to be heading out to Borderline soon. We will have both sets of stickers on tap. If you haven't went and watched the Avalon video, I invite you to do so. It is on the YouTube channel here. If you go click the channel, well, first click subscribe and then click the channel, and it should be the first most recent upload outside of this live. So we'll check the chat real quick. We are going to get out of here very, very soon. Let's see a spike in here. Oh my God, already. I don't know. Do we send him out of here forever? Ask Chaz. He has me blocked. That's why I'm on this profile. What just happened now? There's an Alyssa George. There's an Alyssa George. Oh God. What's happened with Spike and a female in here? Shh, be quiet. We all know you're gay. Okay. What just happened? I guess did she get tired of Spike's misogynist comments? Alicia turned down the Chaz. I don't know. I don't know. I mean, where? Well, maybe this could be one of those fake profiles, Spike. You never know. I don't think I have some people blocked, but I don't think an Alyssa. I could check my block list. Should we put that online too? I mean, it's not that long, but I do have some. The 3 dots on the far right above their name. Oh, Jim blocked me. Okay. So y'all ain't even up. Y'all are just in here arguing with Spike. This is what you call a troll, guys. Y'all have literally fallen into his trap. See, this is why I sometimes have ignored. Alyssa George, if you're in the area, I mean, my TikTok's open, my Twitter's open, my Instagram's open. I don't think I have you blocked over there, but anyway, if you're on this side of the hemisphere, let me know. Chaz, how much in a super chat to block Spike for good? It's not beneficial to have his high rhetoric. We appreciate your channel. It is interesting. You just got to watch me. Don't look at the chat. You can hide the chat, by the way. Y'all can literally, when you're watching these lives, you can hide the live chat and then let these guys in here just kind of go after them or something. You know, I mean, let them have their little fight. Aero Customs, okay, okay, all right. Anyways, thanks for tuning in, ladies and gentlemen. Once again, watch the video. Subscribe buttons down here. Links in the description to join the Aussie support, PayPal, Venmo, direct support. But joining the membership on the channel is a really big deal. Subscribing is probably the biggest. Super chats, although I don't think we got one damn super chat, did we? Nope, they're over there spending all their money on David Gravel. Yep, they're over there spending money on Gravel right now. I think Gravel is live. Unfortunately, I got on top of them, but I had to do it. This is my only opportunity to do it live and then head to the track. Regardless, like the video, comment below, share it around. That also is just as meaningful as the subscription or the membership. And until next time, ladies and gentlemen, don't know when next time is. We got a video coming out with Simpson Speedway, pretty badass video with some super rods going the wrong direction on the racetrack. We got a video coming from Bells Beach, which is one of the most famous beaches in the world. I believe the home of surfing competition. The first surfing competition in the world was held there. We also Endpoint Break, I think, is based off of that beach. And we also go and try some shark. I didn't know it was called shark, but fried flake. I was like, sure, I'll try a flake. What's that? And I take a bite. How's shark taste? Apparently it's shark and scallops, which their scallops here have like the, I guess they call it the roux or something. It's a part of the scallop that we don't have in America. I've never seen it before. But you got the scallop circle medallion piece and then like a root that's attached to it, which is orange, and I just never seen it before. It was like actually real, like really good. So there's a lot of things with the food in America that being outside of the country, it's like, wow, this is how y'all do it. Like their Cokes over here have no corn syrup. Tastes amazing. Why do they continually poison us in America? Oh yeah, the pharmaceutical industry and insurance. Back to politics. Communism masked with capitalism and corporatism. Corporatism and communism right there with it. Same thing. Anyways, thanks for tuning in, ladies and gentlemen. I got to head to the racetrack. As always, like the video, share, comment below. Please subscribe. And until next time. Damn, I ruined the ending, didn't I? Fuck all you white people. Ride anywhere we need to go. We can ride all night up to the morning, as long as we make the show. We can be the best or we can be the worst. We can be